Hey, you know, websites are important, and we know this, especially after this last year. Websites are essentially our online business card, right? It's that online real estate where you have the opportunity to really connect with people that you can help the most. But what I've seen over the past year, as so many of us have dived into more online marketing and making sure that our online presence is really put together so that when people do find us, they know what to do. What I've found is that there are three key elements that so many music teacher websites are missing. And so that's what we're going to be chatting about today. We're going to look at three absolutely essential elements that you need to have on the first part of your website so that you can make sure when people get to your website, they don't bounce. What does that mean? When we talk about bounce rate, it's how long it takes somebody once they land on your website to leave. So we can, there's all kinds of tools that we can use to analyze bounce rate. If your bounce rate is like 30 seconds, then I guarantee that you're missing one of these three key elements. So we're going to be going through those today, and I'm going to have some additional tips for you at the end of the video. So I hope that you stick around. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Sara Campbell. I am a business strategist, marketing, and mindset coach for music studio owners and online education experts just like yourself. And you can find me live here every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about all those topics, where we uncover the business strategies that we need to use in order to become successful, where we talk about the mindset shifts that need to happen in order for those strategies to work, and where we talk about all things marketing because that's my happy place. Welcome to the broadcast. If you are tuning in with me live, be sure to say hello and let me know. Have you been working on your website this year? Or have you thought about working on your website this year? I would love to know what you are focused on. If you are joining later on the replay, please know that I love to hop in and have conversations with you later. So just pretend that it's live right now and hop into the conversation when you have the time. Welcome to the broadcast, everyone. Good morning, Heather. Good morning, Laura. Nice to see you both. We are going to be talking about the three key elements that your website needs, and I do have some fancy things set up for you today. So if you drop the word website below, the Savvy Sara bot will reach out to you via Messenger, and she's going to be giving you the show notes from today and an additional blog post that I think is going to be really valuable. So make sure that you hop on over to the blog after you watch this because there are additional tips over there that are really, really good. So drop a website below to get a hold of that. Good morning there, Karen and Linda. Nice to see you as well. Hi there, Jennifer. Another Campbell in the house. Nice to see you here as well. All right. Let's get to it, shall we? We love to learn out loud. So if you hear something today that is valuable to you and you're going to put that into practice, I'd love you to give me a hashtag takeaway and describe what you found valuable. It's so fun to see these takeaways coming in and being able to learn from one another. So let's do that and be generous to one another as we learn. Hey there, Ariana and Christine. Nice to see you as well. Okay, so if you are watching this on YouTube, just to let you know, if you're looking for the freebies, make sure that you open the description and you check out all of the good stuff that's in there, and I will make sure that you can get a hold of those freebies as well. All right, let's get to it. Three key elements that your music studio website absolutely needs to have. Are we ready for number one? Are you ready? Let's do this. Number one. Okay, so here's the deal. Before I revealed this, I should have talked about why this is important. When I look at a teacher's website, whether it's because we're working one-on-one or if like they're in the social media course and I'm like popping around their Facebook page and seeing like where do things lead and all that stuff, I have noticed three different things that are often missing from websites. Sometimes all three things are missing. Sometimes it's just one. We really need all three of these components to be there on the website in a specific place. So let me describe what I'm talking about. I'm going to be using the phrase above the fold today. Above the fold is an old phrase that we use about newspapers. So when you get that newspaper and it was folded in half, to be above the fold was like important real estate because that's the first thing that you're going to see. The three elements that we're talking about today need to be above the fold in your website. So as soon as somebody lands on that website, they don't need to scroll forever in order to find the information that they want. Because here's the fascinating stuff. We'll get to that tip in a second. Here's the fascinating stuff. I was reading a bunch of articles last week in preparations for today's broadcast, and I kept coming across all of these stats about how long you have once somebody reaches your website, how long they're going to spend there before they bounce. So what I found a couple different articles about this. So we have some different times, but one article said you have 15 seconds. 15 seconds, that's all. Although actually 15 seconds is long in the internet world, believe it or not. So you have 15 seconds to be able to answer specific questions and to really hook somebody with your website. Another article I read said you only have 7 seconds. So that website, that above the fold area, needs to make a strong impression, and it needs to have 3 key elements here. Yay! All right, website. I see lots of websites being dropped there. Hello, Elizabeth and Laura. All right, let's do it. Item number 1. When you go to somebody's website, let's think outside of the music realm for a second. You go to somebody's website and maybe you found it in an ad or you found it, suggested somewhere and you knew, okay, this looks interesting to me. You go over to their website and you can't figure out what it's about. You can't figure out, well, what does this person do, right? If you found yourself on a website that felt kind of the messaging was confusing and you weren't sure, okay, what is it that this person's that these people do? What problems do they solve? And you can't find that anywhere in the first part of the website, you're probably going to leave, right? An effective website is going to tell you within the first couple of seconds what problems do they solve. And that's what we need to tap into with our music websites as well. Oftentimes what I see above the fold on a website is a bio, and it's very eye-centric. It's like, hello, my name is blah, 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 and I do this, and I do that, and I do, but it might be valuable information at some point in the website journey. However, what's way more effective is if you can switch the language from I to you and to talk about the problems that you can solve for the person who is reading it. So in that first above the fold, hey, we got our first takeaway of the day. Christine is saying takeaway, hashtag above the fold, right? We need to know, what are the problems that we solve? How do we help musicians? How do we help singers? How do we help pianists? How do we help guitarists? So we need to have client-centric language that describes the problems that we solve, right? Why do people come to you as a voice teacher? Why do people come to you as a piano teacher? What is it that is really specific to what you do as a music teacher? How do you solve those problems? So if you're not clear on that, it's time to sit down and really examine, all right, looking at my clients, here are the issues that I commonly solve for my clients. Like, for instance, if you're a voice teacher, maybe you specialize in helping with audition preparation. So that's the problem that you would tap into on the website. Maybe if you're a piano teacher, you might specialize in helping young composers. So that's the problem that you're going to be tapping into on the website. So that's the first key element. We have to be able to identify the problem that the people are experiencing. What are their pain points? What are their challenges? And we need to be able to highlight that above the fold. If you are interested in being able to tap into number 1 on your website, give me a number 1 while you're here, and let's see all the people who are going to be examining those problems, right? All right, are you guys ready for number 2? We're grooving along today. Number 2, this is also really important. How do you uniquely solve those problems? So once we can tap in to the problem that somebody is experiencing. We need to highlight how we uniquely solve the problem. What is it that about our process that differentiates us from the teacher down the street? How can we address those problems uniquely and succinctly using our website copy to let the people know, hey, if you have this problem, you're in the right place. Here at Sara's Music Studio, we do X, Y, and Z. So getting really specific about how you can solve the problems to tell them, hey, if you're here and you experience this, this is how we can fix it for you. So we need to have those two questions answered. What are the problems that you solve? And two, how do you uniquely solve them? Because if it's just about, if your website copy is just that, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I do this, and here's my background in music, and blah, blah, blah. That's all interesting information. And certainly there's a place on your website where it needs to live. But that above the fold real estate needs to be all about the client. It needs to be all about what they are experiencing and how you, as an expert in your space, can help them solve those problems. So if you are interested in, I see Linda is saying number one, I see Patricia is saying number one, awesome. So they are going to sit down and really think about what are the problems that they solve for people. If you need to do that, put a number one below. If you need to then dig into how do I uniquely solve these things, give us a number two, because we can't just have one of these things, right? They go hand in hand. Those two things go hand in hand, and we need to have them above the fold because you only have 7 to 15 seconds once somebody lands on your website to really tell them you're in the right place. I see you, I feel you, I understand you, and here's how I can help you. I see lots of number ones and number twos, and I see Tara tuning in. Hey, Tara, nice to see you. Website talk. She brought her unicorn. Okay, so those are two of the key elements that we need to be able to explore in our website copy. There's a third one, though, that's equally important, and we're going to get to that in just one moment here. All right, I see. Yes, Laura's like number one and number two. Karen says, I need to update my page. Hey, that has been the theme of the week. Just yesterday, it was the strangest thing. I had 3 people messaging me and tagging me in the social media course asking about websites, all within this short period of time. And I was like, wow, there must be something going on here in the universe today because everybody seems to be thinking about websites. And we've just gotten through this past year. Some of us are starting to find our footing and find our way back into the world, and things are going to be opening up again, and people are going to be seeking out opportunities that they didn't have last year, whether it's in person or online. I know many teachers have decided, hey, the online model works really well for me. I'm going to stick with it. There's going to come a point soon here where there's going to be a lot of people looking for music lessons, after they've done those vacations, once they've started thinking about what does this next school year entail, they are going to be looking for you. And you need to make sure that when they find you, they understand what you do, how you do it, and item number 3. Are you ready? How can they work with you? So above the fold, and later on in the page as well, we need to have clear calls to action, because I've seen so many beautiful websites that are put, they just look very nice, and there's pretty good copy on them. But then as I'm scrolling around and I'm examining and doing audits, I'm looking and going, well, all right, this information is all great, but how do I sign up? And it might be really apparent to us, right? We might be able to see, okay, it's super easy. There's this button that's at the top of the page. You just have to click on that button. However, if that person is only spending 7 to 15 seconds on your website and they are hoping to find the answer like this, If they don't see that button that's hidden up somewhere, they're not going to click it. So we need to have very clear call to actions. Our website copy needs to lead people in a journey that they identify, oh, yes, I have this problem. Oh, okay, I see that Linda solves this problem. And the way she solves this problem sounds like it would be in alignment to who I am as a human being. How do I work with her? That copy needs to lead them to a clear call to action and to tell them, here is the first step in applying to work with me. And really successful websites, I've seen some really beautiful ones, and I'm trying to think of who was it? It was somebody in the branding boot camp this last spring. Her website was so fabulous because not only did it have the clear call to action, it also had here are the 3 steps that are involved in enrolling in the studio. And it just made that client journey so super clear that there was no question in mind what that person had to do when they got there. They look and they see step 1. Oh, okay, there's a link right there. Here's where I go to make that first step. So on your website, if you're missing any one of these 3 things, you run the risk of that bounce rate getting pretty high and people just jetting after they make it to your site. So we want to make sure we have all 3 of those items above the fold, which is super challenging. And in fact, I'm even working on making some of my pages make sure that those 3 things are above the fold. And I know how challenging that this can be. However, I also know that if you can make these things really easy for people, they are more likely to book with you. So let's go through these in rapid in rapid succession here today. Good morning, Tara. Nice to see you as well. All right. So let's get to it, right? Rapid recap. You only have 7 to 15 seconds to make a solid impression with your website. So if people are bouncing from your website and not taking any action, I can almost guarantee you're missing one of these 3 key elements. Let's go through them. And if you want to get a hold of these show notes and some additional tips, give me a website and the Savvy Sara bot will reach out to you. And if you're watching this on Instagram or on YouTube, check out the description of this post for details about how you can get a hold of those things. Item number 1. You ready? Item number 1. We need to have this question answered above the fold. Think of that newspaper, right? That when it's folded, above the fold, that's the prime real estate. So within that above the fold area of your website, we need to know what problems do you solve. And if you don't know what those problems are, it's time to sit down and really dig deep and analyze, like, who is it that you work for? What are the problems that they experience? What are the, problems that you solve for your clients? So we need to have succinct language that's you-centric, right? Client-centric language that helps them identify with those problems. That's item number 1. Highlight the problems that you solve. Make it client-centric language. Item number 2. Identify how you uniquely solve those problems so that they can understand what makes you different from the teacher next door. So spending time understanding what the problems are and then really identifying, how do I uniquely solve these problems? And to say something like, here at Sara's Music Studio, we do X, Y, and Z, right? Or here at Linda's Piano Studio, we do A, B, and C. Being able to identify how do you uniquely solve a problem will help that client go through the journey of, yes, I identify with this, and ooh, I like the way she's framing this, and I like the way that she's going to take this problem and help me solve it. The third thing that we need on the website is a very clear call to action. We need to be able to tell people what is the first step that needs to happen and to outline the process of booking with you. Don't let that call to action be hidden somewhere in a menu up on the top or down in the footer, or maybe just like a little piece of text that happens to be a hyperlink, but it's so tiny and it doesn't really look like a button that you can click on that it's easy to miss. This call to action needs to be super clear. And you need to tell people, here's how you take that first step, right? Here's how you take that first step. So if you found those things valuable, let me know below which one of those 3 things are you going to be working on in your website. Or if you're working on all 3 of them, give me a 1, 2, 3. Because I can guarantee if you work on these 3 items, if you find these 3 key elements with your website, you are more likely to get people to stay. And to stay beyond those 7 seconds, 15 seconds, so that they actually read all the things and they start exploring and learning more about you and thinking, oh yeah, Heather would be the person that I want to spend time with. Patricia's the person that can help me solve this problem, right? Ah, very good. All right. Oh, thank you, Heather. I like this shirt a lot. It's one of my favorites. I think I've done a lot of videos in this shirt. Okay, so I see we have some questions here. We're going to get to that in just a moment. If you have found today valuable, I would love if you would reach out to a teacher friend of yours and let them know about these broadcasts. That would be the most beautiful way to say, thanks, Sara, for all of this content. Invite one of your friends to join us. Let them know that we are here every week providing all of this advice about business and mindset and marketing. Let them know about it. That would be amazing. And if you enjoyed it, give me some little hearts and some little thumbs up, and it'll make a little fireworks thing go across my screen here. So let's get to it. Yes, Linda, you're one of the people who brought up the question over in the Social Media Savvy Studio. Ideas for your website update. Good stuff. Laura says, I totally must get busy with this. And heck yeah, you want to spend time with me. Patricia is saying she's going to be working on 1, 2, and 3 with number 1 being the most important. Patricia, I really like that you said that, right? So if you're finding that you need to work on all 3 of those, make sure that you identify which is the thing that I need to spend the most time on first. So identify that goal, and that's a really, really smart way to get moving. Okay, so Karen had a question. Can you give some suggestions for good opening use statements for piano teachers? The target market is so wide: children, adults, beginners, advanced. So Karen, one of the first things that I would encourage you to do is to really think about who your ideal clients are. And because if you're marketing to such a wide range, creating those use statements is going to be a little bit difficult. So think about who are your truly ideal clients, the ones that you can absolutely help the most, and then that's where you're going to find the use statement. So I'll give an example of what I've used in the past on my own website. I specialize in working with transfer teens, and it's like a bizarre niche, but it's worked out really, really well for me, partly because I was a transfer teen and I went to multiple piano teachers when I was a teenager, and I didn't get the things that I needed. So as a teacher, one of the things that I found that was unique about me is that I'm able to solve those problems and to help those teens who have maybe had a negative piano experience, or maybe they got away from piano because like it just wasn't what they thought it was going to be, but they're still really interested in music. They love dabbling in composition. They really want to be able to play the songs that speak to their generation. So to create some use statements around that, I could say something like, hey, have you always wanted to play the songs that you hear on the radio? Or I probably wouldn't use radio because they don't listen to radio. Have you always wanted to play the songs that you listen to on YouTube? But those piano lessons that you've had in the past have really fallen flat. They stick around in method books that aren't interesting to you. They push exams that you're like, heck no, I don't want to do that. I just want to be able to play music that makes me happy. Well, if so, you are in the right place, because here at Sara's Music Studio, that is what we focus on. I focus on giving you the tools that you need to become a successful pianist who enjoys just being able to sit down and play the things that make you happy. How's that for a little example, right? So taking, bringing that you-centric client language and really getting very specific about like what I do. If you're working with multiple niches, there are ways to create journeys that address like all the different types of people that you work with. And there's lots of different ways to do that. We've talked about that. We talk about that extensively inside of Branding Bootcamp. It's one of the things that we specialize on in that course. Let's see. Oh, yes. Jennifer says, I'm building a brand new website and want to do it right the first time. Awesome. Tara says, that's right up my alley. I hook kids in the first lesson by teaching them pop songs. Julie says she always has to emphasize that she doesn't do exams, which is really important, Julie, I know in your studio, because there are a bunch of people in your area that do exams. So there's kind of this culture that, parents might have kind of absorbed in learning from other parents who have kids who take piano lessons, that exams are like the thing that they do. So for you, being very clear about this is not an exam studio is really important, right? So I love that you've mentioned that. It's really important. Okay. So I hope that you all found this valuable today. I have put together a blog post for you to read. It's really excellent. So if you put a website below, the Savvy Sarah bot will reach out to you and send you this blog post. It is really, really fabulous. It's a guest blog post, and we just recently updated it. There's great information on there. There's 3 additional tips. Some of them go into a little bit more detail than what I did here today. So if you're trying to figure out how to create a really good client journey, then you're going to want to read this, because it goes over what we call the AIDA technique. And it's fascinating stuff. And it's a great way to really break down, what does that website copy need to do? All right. So give me a website below, and the Savvy Sarah bot will check that. We'll send that your way. And I really look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's broadcast, please be sure to tell a friend and give me some little hearts. All right. Thank you all for being here. We will see you next time on Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. My name is Sara Campbell. I'm a business strategist, marketing and mindset coach for music studio owners and online education experts just like you, and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. In the meantime, stay savvy and stay you, because you are an amazing music teacher, and there's no one in the world quite like you, and I think you're pretty dang awesome. We'll see you next week. Thanks for being here, everybody. Bye-bye.